Hi everyone, welcome to my channel and welcome back. I'm Jeannie and happy St. Patrick's Day. It's not St. Patrick's Day at the time I'm recording this video, but it is by the time I'm uploading it. So I wanted to do a fun green lucky dip powder mani using these new colors from Double Dipped. I thought they would be perfect for a springtime mani as well as St. Patrick's Day. So we've got Little Gnomes, which is a thermal and a satin, and I'm going to pair that with Fairy Teller, which is such a beautiful fine glitter. They go really well together and they just make such a good spring mani because they're just really like pastel-y, beautiful colors. So I'm going to be starting with Little Gnomes first because that's my solid. So I'm just going ahead and pouring it into my Chaos Gemerld Mini just to make it easier to dip into because I am using sample size jars. And I'm only going to be using dip liquids in today's mani. So the dip liquids I'm going to be using are from Double Dipped. So I'm just kind of deciding where I want to put Little Gnomes, and I did decide I would do Little Gnomes on my thumb, index finger, and pinky. So I'm just starting with a little bit of dip base. If I have too much base on my brush, I'm just going to remove most of it in my bottle because I don't want too much liquid, because liquid control is important. If you have too much liquid on your brush, you could cause flooding. You could get product on your skin, which you want to avoid because that can cause lifting. So after I apply the dip base to my entire nail, I'm going to go ahead and dip into my powder. And if I miss any spots, I'm just going to turn my finger and make sure I get it all covered before my dip base dries. The double dipped dip base is about a medium dry time, so I do have time to re-dip again. And then I'm going to tap off the excess powder. And then before it dries, I want to take my precision tool and make sure that I'm cleaning up around my cuticle area and sidewalls just to remove any excess product on my skin. But I didn't have a lot of excess product on my skin because of that liquid control. So when I realized that I had too much dip base on my brush, I was removing that in my bottle before like just continuing on putting that liquid on. I get questions sometimes on the tips I'm wearing, and I always change up the brand because I can never make up my mind. But in case you're curious, for today, I'm wearing the BTR Box Short Almond. These are the clear ones. If you check down below in the description, I have my Amazon storefront linked, and in that storefront, I have a category for full coverage tips, and these are down in there if you want to check them out. I really like them because they're thinner tips. These are the fully matte ones, but I am wearing peel base, which is why they look shiny. But I like that they're short almonds, but I feel like they're short, just a little bit shorter than other brand short almonds. And I've just been really enjoying the shorter nail length lately. You can sort of see the thermal change as I'm dipping, and I just think that's so fun. I love watching the changes as I'm dipping. But the other really fun thing about this powder is that it's a satin. So if you're not familiar with double dip satin dip powders, that means they're chromable, but they're a very unique chrome. And I hate to use the word satiny because that's in the name, but they do look really satiny when you chrome them. I honestly debated doing it for today's mani, but I wanted to make it very simple, so I decided not to. But if you have any of Double Dip's satin powders, really try chroming them and you will just be so impressed with the way they look. If you don't have any of Double Dip's satin powders and you want to try them out, or if you want to place an order for anything, I do have an ambassador code that you can use to save on your orders. You can use code Purplicious18 and you can use that for all your orders. It's not a one-time use or anything like that. I don't get anything from it. It's just a code for you to use. I just really love sharing products that I love with you all, and being able to provide you a discount code is even better because who doesn't like to save money? After my first layer of dip powder completely dried, I dusted off the excess powder, so now I'm going in with layer 2. Whenever I'm doing a dip powder mani, I like to do a minimum of 2 layers of powder just to make sure I get enough coverage and strength from the dip powder. So I'm just applying a thin, even layer of dip base to the entire nail, once again making sure I don't have too much liquid on my brush because I don't want to cause any flooding. And I want to make sure that if I missed any spots with my first layer, I want to make sure that I'm covering that up with my second layer. Because the thermal dip powder is a little bit thicker, I don't want my nails to be too thick. So I'm only going to stick with 2. I'm not going to do a third layer of this powder. Now that I finished with my 2 dips of little gnomies on each of those fingers, I'm going to go ahead and activate them. And the reason I'm activating them is because I'm going to work with my glitter next, and glitter will not stick to activated nails. So I don't want to risk contaminating my solid nails with a stray piece of glitter, because if I weren't to activate it and then I moved on to the glitter and a glitter got on that solid nail, it's really hard to get off. It kind of gets stuck. And so then you're stuck with like this little glitter that's supposed to be a solid nail, which gets really annoying. So I just want to make sure that I'm applying a generous amount of activator to those nails to make sure that it's penetrating through all the layers of dip powder, because that's going to be what's going to harden and cure my dip powder. Now that my nails are activated and the activator makes my nails cold, you can see that thermal change really well. A little later on, you probably won't be able to notice as much because it was warm in my room, so you really only see that warm color. So now is like the perfect chance to see that color change. But anyway, beside the point, I went ahead and moved on to my glitter. So I'm using Fairy Teller, which is a fine glitter, so it's super easy to use. I love like the mixture of colors in here because I feel like you can see like the light green, and I feel like there's some yellow in there. It's just super pretty and really springy. And now I have a question for you because I am super curious. Am I the only one that feels obligated to wear some form of green somewhere on St. Patrick's Day? I don't know why I feel that obligation, because we're grown adults and it's not like people are going to go around pinching other people at work, because that's probably pretty inappropriate unless you're really close to someone. And even then, you probably wouldn't pinch them, but I don't know if it's just like ingrained in me since I was a child or what, but I don't know. I always feel like I have to wear green on St. Patrick's Day. So now I'm curious on where you fall. If you wear green on St. Patrick's Day, drop down below in the comments either a green clover or a green heart, meaning you always make sure you wear green on St. Patrick's Day. Or if you don't care and you just wear whatever you feel like, drop like any other colored emoji down below in the comments. I'm curious how many wear green. After I finish my 2 dips of Fairy Teller, I'm going to do a third dip in my clear. So this is my giant jug of double dipped clear. It's one of my favorite clears to use. And the reason why I'm doing a third dip in clear is because I'm going to do some filing and buffing. And I don't want to file directly on top of the glitter because it could dull the glitters and it could also remove the color of the glitters. And so I don't want to risk that. So I want to protect my glitters. So I suggest anytime you are filing and buffing and you're working with a glitter, you want to protect that with some clear. I didn't end up doing it for my thermal dip powders, but I will do it for my glitters. I always apply a little extra dip base than I would for a normal dip, just because I want to make sure that the clear has something to absorb into. Because when you get really graininess or cloudiness, sometimes it's because your clear isn't fully absorbed. So I always like to do that. And then after I dip into the powder, I like to press down as well, just to make sure that it's absorbing into that dip base. Obviously, you don't want too much dip base to where you're flooding your cuticles, but you do want a little bit extra. I'm going to make sure my dip base is fully dry, and after I know that it's dry, I'm going to take a stiff scrub brush and I'm going to scrub off any of the excess powder. For regular dip powders, I just use my dust brush, but the dust brush doesn't get off all the excess powder. It really does make a difference in clarity if you use a stiff scrub brush and you scrub. So after I scrub off the excess powder, I'm going to go ahead and activate these nails as well. I'm not going to show you my whole filing process, but I wanted to show you this really cool tool that you could use. This is the Drop Ergo glass nail file from Bona Fide Beauty. They just dropped this beautiful new color Jade, and they were kind enough to send it to me, and it works so well. So the bottom end right there is where the nail file is. The rest of it is smooth. It's a little bit sharper, so you have to be careful, but the curve of it just makes it so easy to get around your cuticle area and your sidewalls. And so it's a little bit thicker, but it fits really nicely in between like your skin and your nail. So you can really tuck in there and clean up your lines, get really crisp lines. You can shape your nails as well if you want to shape your free edge a little bit. It's just that one edge that's the file part and the rest of it's smooth, but the curve really helps in kind of doing that shaping around your nail. So I just wanted to share that with you in case you wanted a good tool to use for crisper lines. I finished my filing and buffing off camera, so here's how my mani's looking. I'm loving the way it's turning out, but now we're going to get into my favorite part, which is dip top coat. In order for your dip top coat to dry, it does need a layer of activator, so I'm just applying one thin layer of activator to all my nails, and I'm going to wait a full 2 minutes for it to dry before I go in with my top coat. For my first layer of dip top coat, I'm going to apply it in 2 to 3 swipes on each nail. I want to be fairly quick about it because I don't want to end up hardening my brush with any excess activator. In between each nail, I'm wiping my brush on that paper towel to remove any excess activator before returning it to the bottle. After I'm done with my fifth nail, my first layer will be dry and I'm ready to go in with my second layer of dip top coat. I don't know the science behind it, but you do need 2 layers of dip top coat in order to get your maximum amount of shine. For your second layer, you can take your time. You can take a couple extra strokes to make sure your entire nail is covered. And I'm also making sure to cap my free edge. As always, I'm going to finish off my mani by rehydrating my cuticles with my Scales of a Mermaid cuticle oil. This is in the Woodland from her recent release, and this is my favorite scent from the release. I love all the scents in the release because they're the perfect transitional scent from winter into spring. But this one, I love how light it is. Like it's very like you can smell like watermelon and cucumber. So it's a really light, springy type scent. Like it reminds me of like being at a spa, sipping on some cucumber water. I just really love it. And you know me, I love the fruity scents anyway. And if you do want to pick up anything from Scales of a Mermaid, I do have an affiliate code. So you can use code Genie10 to save 10% off your orders. So that pretty much wraps up today's mani, my lucky green dip powder nails. So I hope this video was helpful. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, I'd appreciate it if you gave this video a thumbs up. It lets me know to continue creating content like this. It also helps YouTube recommend me to others, which helps grow my channel. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing. I upload content every Monday and Thursday at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. As always, I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.